Where's Muhammad?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin.
With the name.
Okay, this is week 5 of our 40-week Quran beginner believers class. And I will mute myself and let our teachers take over.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. Welcome back to the Q40 program. As Waleed said, we are now at week 5, where we will continue to discuss the false gods concept through a number of Quranic words. Last week, we looked at the word ilah and aliha, that being translated as gods. And I believe that this is the main concept in this semantic field, because it appears about 150 times in the entire text. But this week we will be focusing on a few less frequently used words, like arbab, the plural of Rabb, or usually translated as lords, asnam, awthan, and andad. So these are usually interchangeably translated as idols, gods, deities, what have you. But according to their context, they do have very specific meanings that I can see. So before we begin, I'd just like to share with you what struck me in this research so far. And that's why I'm very grateful for this research. It's really helped me understand the Quran from a perspective I was not familiar with up to this point. So there are some concepts in this semantic field which do include Allah, but most of them do not. So say, for example, the words asnam, awthan, and andad, and taghut. They obviously don't include Allah. Allah is never one of these things. But words like Rabb, Lord, awliya, guardians, allies, malik, kings, and of course the word ilah. These do include Allah, and Allah puts himself at the top of these things. So for example, Allah is the God, right? He is also Rabbil Alameen, the Lord of the worlds. He is also Malikul Mulk, the king of the dominions, and he is Malik as well, which is the owner or the ultimate king of something. So Allah is He is giving us agency through these other names. But the second fact, which I'd like to share with you, is that the Tawhidic statement is La ilaha illallah. So there is no ilah except Allah. So that is one name nothing can share. Allah only shares the other three. You can be a wali to each other. You can be a Rabbaniyun, as you can see down below, and you can also be a Malik, but you can never be an Ilah. So Ilah is the one exclusive name for Allah. And if you look at chapter 2, verse 163, you will see why. So let's now move on to the word Rabb. So we begin with trying to understand a practical function of the word Rabb. So I look at chapter 17, verse 24. That's in your notes anyway. It says, وَقْفِدْ لَهُمَا جَنَاهُ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ, and lower unto them the wings of humility from the nurturance. وَقُلْ Rabbi irhamhuma kama rabbayani saghira, and say, my Lord, bestow nurturance for them like they rabbayani, I'm not translating that yet, saghira, as they parented me or cherished me or nourished me when I was small. So here you can see what a parent does for a child. A parent feeds the child, shelters a child, uh, educates a child, sometimes even punishes a child. So these things, Allah termed it as Rabba, Rabba. So we can then get a clear picture of what the Rabbil Alameen does on a universal scale. This is what our parents do for us. And indeed, Allah tells us in chapter 3, verse 79, ما كان لبشر أن يؤتيه الله الكتاب والحكمة والحكم والنبوة. It is not meet that a bashar, a man who or to whom given the book, the governance and the prophecies, ثم يقول للناس, then he should say to the people, كونوا عبادا لي من دون الله, be you worshippers to me rather than Allah. ولكن on the contrary, he would say, Kunu Rabbaniyin. Be you Rabbaniyin. Let's not translate yet. Bima kuntum tuallimun al-kitab, that you give information about the book, wama wabima kuntum tadrusun, and that you study it. So, to be a Rabbani, a Rabbaniyin in plural, this means that you are being Rabb to people, but it's a positive Rabb. It's a office of Rabbubiyah, which is approved and even commanded by Allah. And as a side note, you should see that this combination Al-Kitab, wal-Hukm al-Nabuwah, the book, the governance, and the prophecies, this is repeated for this person, this Bashar, also for the Nabiyyin in chapter 3, verse 81, literally 2 verses down, and also for Bani Israel in chapter 45, verse 16, if I'm not mistaken. So it is possible to be a Rabb in a positive sense. Obviously, you can't be Rabbil Alameen, that's only for Allah. But the Rabbil Alameen is giving you the office of the Rabb. However, there are also negative Rabbs. And this is in chapter 9, verse 31, where it says, أَتَّخَذُوا أَحْبَارَهُمْ وَرُهْبَانُهُمْ أَرْبَابًا مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ وَالْمَسِيحِ ibn Maryama. They have taken, usually translated as priests and anchorites. I translate them as people who give good news and people who scare, as arbaban min dunillah, as lords besides Allah. So these people, they have taken these, shall we say, emotive agents to be their sources of nourishment and sustenance besides Allah. Wal Masih ibn Maryam, as well as the personality of the chosen one for them. But they were commanded to worship only Allah. So Allah says, Subhanahu amma yushrikun. Glory be to Allah upon what they associate. So this is an act of association that they have done. So in other words, we should not depend on others for our emotive stability or our connection with Allah. And if you see the next ayah, you will see their intention. Their intention is to extinguish the light of Allah with their mouths. So that's what they're doing. They're talking and they're trying to extinguish the light of Allah. But Allah will not allow that. Rather, His light will be perfected, even though the disbelievers detest it. So, this is something which we have in society. In society, we will find people giving us news. They'll try to encourage us with news. Oh, this person did that. This person did this, etc., etc. And we are behind. They are behind the screen. So we don't know if this is happening or not. But if we take them at their word, we are in fact taking them as our arbab min dunillah, lords besides Allah. So I'll stop here for the discussion.
Thank you so much for that, Farouk. I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Musa and then everyone else.
That ties in very nicely with the discussion that we were having before the meeting started. Brother Walid and I were talking and talking about the way that every generation of Muslims does exactly what we're doing. They approach the Quran, they read it, they use whatever knowledge or information they have available in attempting to understand and act on it. The people who wrote hadith collections were not legends in their own time the way they are legends today, the mufassirs, because let us not pretend that we are not doing, this is the tafsir of Farouk, Peru and Aisha Musa. That's what it is. But we don't mean to be lords besides God. We are doing what all Muslims have always done. We are approaching the Quran and trying to understand it. And then a few generations later, everybody looks at these people and goes, oh my God, they were so great. And then puts their work and the words of other people, because we think they were so pious or so smart or whatever, they become elevated. And it's not that the words of Allah are ever lost. It's not that the message of Allah is ever lost. It's not that they ever successfully put out the light of Allah with their mouth, but their words are taken first, and people follow what they say rather than saying, okay, that's somebody's opinion, that's their understanding, they have knowledge, I will listen to it, but then I still have to look at the book myself. I still have to approach Allah. I have to see Allah as Lord. And I see that this ayah is describing exactly what we were talking about before the meeting started. Because one of the things that my studying the development of Islamic theology and law and all of that has shown me is that those people were not they weren't legends in their own time. They were controversial. Shafi, the great champion of hadith, supposedly died from injuries sustained in a beating that he got from people who disagreed with him. But today he's Imam Shafi, for whom an entire Sunni school of law is named. That took centuries to happen. And Brother Walid said he's, he has some concern that 100 years from now, Islam awakened will be some kind of canon. And so I think that's why it's important for us to make it clear that we're doing what other generations have done before, and we don't want to be, even if we have that positive role of teaching or whatever, we don't want to replace Allah as the Rabb of people, because I think every generation that happens. And and it's as much a risk than anything we say and do today. 100 years from now, 200 years from now, people are going to look back and turn us into that as well. I mean, Allahu alam, but that ties in so well with this ayah is perfect tie-in to what we were discussing earlier.
Thank you very much, Dr. Musa. I just wanted to point out chapter 3, verse 79 really strengthens your point there, because it says tu'allimuna al-kitab. Tu'allimuna is a passive voice. So we are giving information about the book. We're not teaching the book, but rather when we study it, bima kuntum tadrusun. So we are studying it. So for ourselves, we are studying the book of Allah, but when we give information, we're just giving information. We're not actually indoctrinating people.
Exactly.
So I think that's important.
Exactly. And that is, I think, and that's why I keep saying the term lillah is the most important concept. Lillah, ad-din mukhlis lillah, right? And if we look at Quran 45:6, it does not contrast the Quran and the hadith. It contrasts bi hadith, any hadith, right? Anything somebody says with Allah wa ayatihi, right? Allah and his signs, or the divine and its signs. Divine is always there, and the divine signs are always there. And the question that ayah asks is فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثٍ بَعْدَ اللَّهِ وَآيَاتِهِ يُؤْمِنُونَ. In which hadith after or beyond the divine and its signs do they put faith? Do they have this trust that it is the truth? Because only Allah knows the absolute truth, and only Allah has perfect understanding of the signs. We can only come, approximate, we can get a glimpse, right? If Allah blesses us with that glimpse. But it has to be mukhlis lillah, and Ar-Rahman Allam al-Quran, right? Ar-Rahman is the teacher of the Quran. So, yeah. So that's a warning to all you youngins who are sitting here with us thinking, seeing us as teachers. Keep that line in mind. Keep that line in mind, and remember, lillah, right? Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for that, Dr. Musa. And yes, you're right. Um, Allah knows the truth. And if we look at chapter 3, verse 7, the muhkamat and the mutashabihat, right? Um, no one knows their, interpretation except Allah and ulu albab, right? Those who possess the core. And those who believe, they say, we believe with it. All of it is from Allah, right? And yes, mukhlis lillah, for Allah. It should always be for Allah. Even this class is for Allah. All of you are here for Allah. We're not here somewhat for each other, but majority of it, the bulk of it is mainly for Allah, right? Anybody else want to add to this or have any questions? And I don't like calling this a class. I mean, it's sort of a class, but it's more of I wanted it to be like a discussion type thing. I think the more formal class would be with Dr. Musa after this is over, when she's done with developing her course on the Quran, inshallah. But
I call it a halaqa.
halaqa, yeah, like a halaqa, like a discussion, a round table. Um, I'm sure most of you went through the notes. Dr. Hanan, I'm sure you went through it. Khadija went through it. Is Muhammad not joining us today?
No, I'm here.
He's here.
Oh, you're here, brother. Hey, assalamu alaikum, brother.
Walaikum assalam.
So, anyone else would like to add anything to this? Brother Walid, Khadija, Hanan, Mufti Vic.
I have a couple of thoughts. I'm always amazed by God's words. I'm always amazed by how blunt he is with the truth. I'm amazed that, let's just pretend I'm the very last. I mean, okay, I have kids, so I'm not the very last of my, lineage, right? I have children, but I'm also amazed that every single person that came before me um, did not look at these verses and think of their own shirk or their own, um, preferring hadiths over the Quran, or even arguing about the Quran and using hadith as your base for the argument. Um, so I'm just, once again, I'm really, really amazed and very happy to see that God is saying exactly what I have been screaming inside internally this whole time.
Yeah, Khadija, I believe we are born with it. I mean, Carl Jung says it's a blank slate, tabula rasa. I call it, lawh mahfuz, that tablet that's within us that we activate, right? As we are activating it now by going through all of these ayah. And again, that's my interpretation. That's my understanding. Dr. Musa will have her understanding. You have your understanding. And part of the intention behind this was so that we all understand each other's understanding. Of course, we have
Yeah.
our own, but we understand each other's understanding. Allah has made
Yes.
us into different tribes and clans and nations and peoples and cultures and understandings and interpretations, so that we may
Yeah.
know one another, right? And that was what is behind that. But no, you're right. Like
Yeah.
the truth is very. When Brother Walid, I think it was our week one, when he said Al Haq, Allah is Al Haq, Allah
Mm,
is the truth, Allah is the I don't know the synonyms for truth, but Allah is that, and that's why it resonates within you, because Allah is within us. Allah is within us. Allah's all around us. Allah's, don't want to sound Hindu when I say this, but like Hindus got it right, I think. I think maybe some took them a little overboard, like most of our Muslim brothers and sisters also do too. But Allah's within us and Allah's all around us, and that's why
Yeah.
it resonates so much with us.
Yeah. And then I also had another comment about our instructors worried. I don't know if the word worried is a good word, but our
Caution.
instructors, um, yeah, they were conscious of us not making them our Rabs and Arbab. So I want to assure you, I hope I can speak on behalf of everybody, um, that we would not take other humans as Arbab, and that we're all learning together, and not everything that one person says is the truth. And I think the truth is up to us to figure out too. I can't just assume, I can't, okay, yeah, we don't,
No, you're right.
yeah.
This is a question for Brother Walid. Are there layers of truth? Are there not alternative, but maybe connected versions of truth? What is your understanding of that? And then we'll move on.
I've posted a image that I've seen around the internet. I didn't invent it. It shows an object with two shadows, and one shadow is a square, and another shadow is a circle. And the labels say one shadow, this is true. And it says about the other shadow, this is true. And then you see that the object in the middle is a cylinder, and the shadow from two different angles either becomes a circle or a square. Okay. And labels that one in the middle as the truth. Okay. Now, the truth of our creator is much greater than you can put in an image, but that gives a tiny glimpse of our limitations and creations in terms of being able to understand al-haq, the truth that is Allah and his message, okay, is beyond anything that our created brains can wrap itself around. We are limited. We will be this limited until the last day. What he gives us after that, we don't know yet. But there is perspectives of truth. We only can have perspectives of truth in this life.
Yeah.
Remember what happened to the mountain when Allah let the mountain see him crumble to dust. Okay. Long time
Shakes you
ago
up.
in a different kind of meeting, I made the comment that if God removed all of my defects of characters, there would be a puff of smoke and my clothes would be sitting here. So I am a limited being. I was created for a limited period of time in this physical three-dimensional world, and
Mm.
I can only grasp a part of what he has sent us. And striving to understand what he's enabled me to understand is the best work I can be doing. And I pray that I'm doing enough. And that's all I can answer. That's the best answer I have to your question.
No,
Thank you.
inshallah. Thank you so much, Brother Walid. Thank you for sharing that. I posted a video in our group chat. It's pretty much the same truth, but different perspectives, right? You can see how it's spiraling. So there's other ways of looking at things, um, which is beautiful in my opinion. Who doesn't like a buffet, right? uh, yes. So I'm gonna pass it over to Brother Muhammad. I'm sure you read through the notes and you have something to add to all this. If you don't, you can pass it on to Hanan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything to add. I think Brother Walid said it very well there. There is, of course, in my opinion, obviously there is the ultimate objective truth and reality, which I think is Allah, and all we can do, like he said, is try to piece together what little pieces of truth that we have and make sure we're filtering out the deceptions when they come our way, inshallah.
Yeah. Uh, Thank you for sharing that. Mufti Vic, a brother, how are you? You're muted. Okay, I'll pass it on to can someone read? I just texted in the chat here on WhatsApp on Zoom. Arbab, the breakdown of Arbab and the breakdown of Rabbaniyun. Someone who hasn't spoken yet. Wesley, are you able to see the chat? Wesley? Hanan, are y'all there?
Yeah, I am here.
أختي, السلام عليكم.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. أختي, can you read Arbab and Rabbaniyun from the chat here?
Hey, let me see. Yeah, I can read. However, I have a question. I don't know if you guys can answer it. I don't know. I didn't hear anybody talking about this ayah. It's chapter 12, verse 50. فلما جاءه الرسول قال ارجع إلى ربك فاسأله ما بال النسوة التي قطعن أيديهن إن ربي بكيدهن عليم. So it looks like Rabb is mentioned twice in this verse. I just would like to understand, like, how do we understand Rabb? Is it looks like a Rasul here? I don't believe it's is a Rasul, right? It looks like some messenger came to I don't know the whole story, but isn't it mentioned in the different meanings in the same ayah?
Yes, I believe so, Hanan. Irji ila Rabbika here seems to be going back to the king, right? Or maybe to the Aziz. So that's what I'm saying. You know, the Rabb is an office which is assigned. I wouldn't say assigned, which is permitted by Allah. So you know, like Allah tells us, "Kunu Rabbaniyin, be you Rabbaniyin." That shows that it is possible, but Allah is Rabbil Alameen. He is at the source of this Rabb nurturance that He is giving us, and it manifests as, and this is probably a change of subject a little bit. It manifests as Rahmah. That's my understanding.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So did that messenger take the king as, and Al-Malik said, so it's Al-Malik, so it's referring to God, come to me with him. So as the messenger, the Rasul came to him, they appeared to him.
Zishan, I don't think وقال الملك, I don't think al-Malik is referring to God. So
Al-Malik is Allah's attribute. It's not anyone else.
could be the king, not the king.
But isn't Allah referred to as the king?
And the Malik said,
I'm sure Dr. Musa or Farouk can expound on this, but if you look at chapter 59, verse 23.
59:23.
Mm-hmm.
Zishan, for me, the best way to see this how this al functions. So al, usually they say, well, this shows the greatest degree of something, right? But if you look at chapter 28, verse 25, let me just pull that up. It says, so this is talking about the two women dealing with Musa, yeah, at the well. So it says there, slightly into the verse, it says, "Falamma ja'ahu." So at length he came to him, wa qassa alayhi al-qasas, and he related upon him the story. So the story here is not the stories of the Quran; it's the
But it is
story
the
of what
story
just
of the
happened.
but it is the story of the Quran. That story is within the
Okay.
Quran. We are like, again, like archetypes, right? We're reliving these ayah over and over and over again. So he is relating to him al-Qasas from the Quran. Or is that
Okay.
Shabiha? I don't know.
I don't quite see it that way. I see it as contextual al, But okay, it's fair enough. I understand
No, I
why
see
you
what you're
see it that
saying as
way.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and
It's a very
Zishan,
good question, Hanan. Very,
and
very good question. Thank you.
so another reason why al-malak here is not referring to God. وقال الملك and whatever. Okay, astaghfirullah. Anyway, فلما جاءه الرسول قال ارجع. So that means when the prophet came to him, he told him to go back. I don't think God is speaking, and I don't think God is telling somebody to go back. So go back to your Lord. You see why I'm saying I don't think al-Malik here is God? Even
Wow.
though God refers
Yes,
to himself
yes,
as Malik, he
yeah,
does.
yeah.
Al-Malik al-Quddus. But as Brother Farouk said, only Allah, like the word Malik, we can share with other people,
Same
right?
with Aziz, right? The wife of Aziz, and then Yusuf himself becomes
Exactly.
Aziz, right? Okay.
So these are
This is
people.
something to think about. Wow. Very
Yep,
deep
this
question,
is all
Hanan. Thank you so
people.
much. I never saw that
Yeah,
before.
and even if you look at uh,
Hanan,
verse 43,
wait, repeat the
I
ayah.
believe
If you
that you
can
can
type it in the
find
chat, Hanan, that'd be great.
chapter 12, verse 43.
Okay.
You will see the answer there.
Mm,
It said
mhm.
the king. وقال الملك, indeed, I've seen. Oh, wow. You're right. Listen, what's the difference between al-malaku and then al-malik, right? Allah refers to himself as al-malik, and then there, and yeah, anyways, okay, this is something to think about. Wow. I have no idea the answer to your question, Hanan.
So Zishan, if you take a look at chapter 3, verse either 27 or maybe it's 26. So it says, Allahumma malikul mulki. He is the malik of the mulk. No king
Mm,
is said to be that. He is the ultimate king.
yeah.
So I think that's very important.
And keep in mind that the definite article only specifies a particular thing. The book that's on the shelf may be any book, right? The Quran is the book of Allah, but if I say the book on the shelf and it's a different book, I'm specifying a particular book.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the Arabic al does, right?
Yeah.
And you say ar-rajul, the man who lives down the street, as opposed to just any man, right? The king had a dream. That's a particular king who had a dream, the king at the time of Joseph, right? That's not the same as Allah, as Farouk just said, the king of kings, right? The ultimate, Allah is the ultimate, but in any language, a definite article just specifies a particular defined individual thing, as opposed to anything else in the category that is that same thing. So Allah uses the human language of Arabic for the revelation of the book that came to Muhammad, which is part of the book of Allah that's in the Lawh al-Mahfuz, right? And we have to keep in mind that God used a human language so that the human beings who received it could understand it, right? And we happen to have that book in the original language. The other parts of the book that came in other languages, the language didn't travel with the book. Jesus spoke Aramaic, right? But Greek was the language that the world spoke mostly at the time, right? So Jesus' message ended up spreading out in Greek instead of the Aramaic, right? So, but yeah, human language. We need to keep in mind that God is using human language the way human beings use it and then some. But it has to be understood on a basic level by everybody who approaches it, because that's God's promise.
Yeah. Khadija, yeah, I'm sorry.
I have a question. It's kind of more of a history question in a way. In the verse that Sister Hanan was asking about, ارجع إلى ربك فسأله ما بال. Anyway, so the ربك, like I used to watch these Turkish shows based off of like the Ottoman days and Suleiman the
I
Great,
love
and
those shows.
I do too. But one thing I really noticed was that they used titles that I thought were titles that were specifically more of like a religious, like Moulay, right? Like for me, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
the word Moulay has a very like a holy aspect to it versus
Yeah.
just anybody. Um, and I know like in English, oh my Lord, you know, Tudor maybe, or I don't, I can't remember who is, what language is from what era, but is it possible that back then that people were called Rabbi, my Lord, I
Yeah.
bow down to you so that you do not burn my farm, right? Like,
Mhm.
so is that perhaps why Rabbaka is in this
It's
verse,
actually
even though
still
it's
a
for
title.
human?
It's still a title, I think, in Europe. Lord,
Yeah,
right?
Lord,
Lord is
yes,
still there, and then Rabbi,
yeah.
right? Rabbi in Judaism, right? If you read the thing that I sent, uh, it says for what you call it, arbab. Arbab, if you go with the cross-linguistic, related to Hebrew, Rab, which is teacher or master, Syriac, Rabba, lord or master, and Aramaic, rabbi, right?
Mm.
So, Arbab, lord,
Oh, Rabbi is Lord what do they speak now?
yeah, you're right, you're right.
What are they speaking? They're not speaking Aramaic.
No, 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 I'm just saying
Hebrew,
it's the same
Hebrew,
Aramaic.
root.
thank you.
Yeah, so
Thank you. I know that.
The
here, I'll put
category is called Semitic languages.
mm,
And currently Ethiopic, Hebrew, and Arabic are the three living Semitic languages. Hebrew was revived after the founding of the State of Israel. Prior to the founding of the State of Israel, Hebrew was not a spoken language, it was a religious language. But yeah, I think, and this is my thinking as an Arabist who only dabbles in comparative Semitics, because there's only so much time in the day, although I'm trying to learn a little bit of Syriac now. So I only dabble in comparative Semitics, but I definitely see why it makes sense to me as a linguist that the divine chose Semitic languages for the revelation of the book, because the way the languages function allows for some, like I said, very simple, anybody who knows the language can understand this, but at the same time, very profound depths of meaning. So, subhanallah. Semitic languages. If you want to study Semitic languages, I highly recommend it.
very
Uh,
fascinating. Yeah.
Folks,
Farouk?
can we proceed? Because
Yes, let's
that's
please do.
kind of a lot to
No,
get
but
through.
Hanan,
Sorry.
Hanan, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know if we answered your question. It's something that I need to definitely explore myself. But yeah, Farouk, I'm sorry. Go on. But sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. So, with regards to the continual discussions, it actually does benefit our iman. So if you look at chapter 10, verse 100, it says, وَمَا كَانَ لِنَفْسٍ it is not for a soul أَن تُؤْمِنَ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ, that she should believe except with the permission of Allah. وَيَجْعَلُ الرِّجْسَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. He has placed uncleanliness upon those who do not think. So this word yaqilun there is in fi'il mudari, which means present continuous tense. It's constantly happening. You're constantly thinking. So you can't just go to one aqidah class and say, hey, here's my aqidah, and proceed with the rest of your life. You need to continuously think. In fact, the one time in which the verb akal is used in past tense, akal is reasoning, used in past tense, i.e. used once, is in chapter 2, verse 75, which is related to the hardening of the hearts. So if you accept one ideology and just that's it, that you can't just think beyond that, that's not cool. You have to constantly keep thinking. That's why I think we should have these halaqas, as Brother Walid calls them, because they will inspire us to greater levels of iman. So now we move on to the second word, which is asnam. Asnam is translated as images. I do not believe that asnam are necessarily physical images. Um, I believe that these are images in our minds which we have made sacred somehow. So, say for example, if you have some kind of a superstar or something, and this superstar becomes your idol. Literally in English, you call them idol, right? So this is your asnam. So Ibrahim says to his people, chapter 6, verse 74, he says, وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ لِأَبِيهِ أَزَرَ. Ibrahim says to his father Azara, أَتَتَّخِذُوا أَسْنَامًا آلِهَةً. Do you take these images as your gods? Inni araka wa qawmaka fi dalalin mubin. I see you and your people in clear misguidance. So he has dissociated with them at this stage. He says, qawmaka, your people. Um, and he sees them in manifest error or misguidance. And after that, Allah says, وَكَذَلِكَ, and like that, Nuri Ibrahim, we showed Ibrahim Malakutus Samawati wal Ard, the kingdom of the heavens and the earth, waliyakuna minal mukinin, that he may be of the ones who with certainty. So when you get rid of these images in your life, then Allah will show you the true kingdom, his true kingdom. And that's what Ibrahim achieves in the same passage, but in verses 79 to 80. We don't have time to go through, so please read at your own leisure. Um, the next time the word asnam is used, so literally the second time the word asnam is used, is in chapter 7, verse 138. So the next chapter, but this is for Musa. So it says, we took the children of Israel across the sea. They came upon a people devoted entirely to some gods they had. They said, O Musa, place for us a god like unto the gods they have. And Musa said, surely you are a people who are ignorant. Qawmu tajhalun. You are people who are jahils. Jahil, in my understanding, is to be superficial. You do not see what they are really doing.
Mm.
What they're doing is like probably damaging themselves by doing this. You see? So we have Musa and Ibrahim. And I didn't know before this that Musa's people were dealing with Asnam as well. So Musa's people and Ibrahim's people have this Asnam problem, as it were. Um, and Musa says, these folks, their cult is, the cult will bring ruin for them. And batil is what they do. Batil is like falsehood, is what they practice. So this is Musa and Ibrahim. Their people are dealing with Asnam. The next time Asnam is mentioned is in chapter 14. And chapter 14 mentions both Musa and Ibrahim. And I thought that concordance of concepts was quite amazing. So now we come to Ibrahim and his reaction to the Asnam. This is in chapter 21, verse 51. It says, we gave to Ibrahim rushd or maturity from before, and we were well acquainted with him. Behold, he said to his father and his people. So at that time, he didn't dissociate yet. He said to his people, his father and his people, what are these tamathil? He didn't use the word asnam there. Tamathil, it comes from the word mathal, which means likeness to something. So I understand tamathil to be like the producers of these likenesses. So almost like the industry behind these likenesses, which you are devoted to. They said, we found our fathers serving them. Then he says, verily you are in manifest error. He uses that word again, dalalim mubin, just like in chapter 6, verse 74. And then they ask him, have you brought to us the truth, or are you of those who are playing or jesting? The translation says jesting, but la'ib is playing. So they want him to be serious. And he says, Bal Rabbukum, your Lord, Rabbus Samawati wal Ard, is the Lord of the heavens and the earth. Just like in chapter 6, verse 75. Alladhi fatarahunna, the one who initiated everything. Wa ana ala dhalika minashahideen, and he is a witness to this. Again, it goes back to chapter 6, verse 79. How did he achieve this? That's in that passage. And by Allah, I have a plan for your asnam after you go away and turn your backs. So he placed them as pieces except the great one for them, that they may turn to him. Now, in a traditional understanding, this is about the big statue that they may turn to the big statue and ask the big statue. There is no asking the big statue in this passage. So I don't think it's the big statue. I think the kabiran lahum, the great one for them, is Allah. They should turn to Allah, because obviously Allah cannot be destroyed,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
they're turning to Allah. So then when they came back, they said, who has done this to our gods? Notice they don't say asnam, yeah, they say gods. He must be from the zalimin, the oppressors. So they are calling him an oppressor now. And then, they heard a youth talk of them. He is called Ibrahim. This is indeed, I find very strange as well. Yuqalu lahu Ibrahim. They say to him Ibrahim, or he said of them Ibrahim. I don't understand that. Why isn't he like he's named Ibrahim? I don't understand that. Then then bring him before the eyes of the people that they may bear witness. So they're giving him a fair trial there, and they ask him, are you the one who did this to our gods, Ya Ibrahim, O Ibrahim? And then he said, no, this was done by the biggest one. So this has again been a subject of discussion. Again, I don't believe Ibrahim was telling them a fib or trying to um, play smart with them in some way. I think this is what Allah told them, Ibrahim, to do, to smash the idols. And I don't believe that these are physical idols. I believe that these are the idols of the mind, in which he smashed them with logic. And that's why Ibrahim says, "Fas'aluhum in kanu yantiqun." So ask them if they can logically explain. They can't. They can't explain, because they are a product of our minds. And then the next ayah says, "Faraja'u ila anfusihim." They are referring to themselves. So it is about their experience. فَقَالُوا إِنَّكُمْ أَنْتُمْ ظَالِمُونَ. And their nafs tells them, no, sorry, they're telling themselves, you are the oppressors, but unfortunately, they did not say that to Ibrahim. Instead, they kind of doubled down on their position. They said, "You know well that these
What else,
idols
Doc?
do not speak."
What
So
happened?
I'll just stop there, and you guys continue.
Hello?
Hello.
Sorry.
Are you guys there? Yeah. I'll stop there. Please.
Excellent. I posted some notes. If someone could read them. So yeah, they call him Ibrahim. That's pretty interesting. But I also posted the
I
meaning of.
wonder
Mhm.
I wonder if they call him Ibrahim because there is Abram and Abraham. So perhaps he then became Ibrahim, but
Also
was known in his
Brahma, right?
Brahma.
Brahma in Hinduism, the creator god, the ultimate creator.
Brahma is related to Abraham.
I mean, it sounds the same, right?
It does sound the same.
Brahmin are the elite caste. The
Brahma is the main god is
It's
of
the creator,
Hinduism.
ultimate god, above
Yes,
them
That's
all.
been a
and
theory for many years that there's a
and
linguistic connection. Some of the Hindu religion traces back to the time of Abraham, and that's where the
mm,
name comes from. That has not been proven, but it is a theory among some scholars.
okay, thank you. But yeah, maybe they call him Ibrahim is because by then, because from my understanding of Abram and Ibrahim is that Abram was kind of before he got the Nur or before he, you know, became Abraham.
Well, there's definitely a biblical that's definitely the Hebrew Bible has him Abram, and then after he gets the commission from God, he becomes
We have
Abraham.
in the Quran he's
So,
Abram. There's Abram also in the Quran.
do you know what ayah that is?
Oh, let me see if I can look up his name real quick. I'm sure it'll
Because I
pull up.
know that's definitely a story in Judaism and Christianity of that shift of his name.
Oh, here already. Oops. Oh, hey, I'm sorry. Chapter 2, 124. And it was so that Abram was tested by commands from his Lord, which he fulfilled. So he's Abram here.
That's Ibrahim there, Khadija. وَإِذِ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ رَبُّهُ بِكَلِمَاتٍ.
Yeah, see, this is where one of the things that we have to be careful of with translations of the Quran and why we have to read different ones is that putting Abram in the English, if it's Ibrahim in the Arabic, is following that Christian and Jewish understanding of the story.
Yep, they're inserting the Bible into the same way Sunnis and Shias insert the Hadith. Christians and Jews.
Well, I would say it's different because the Torah and the Torah and the Injil are from Allah. Again, they're not lost. We need to read them with the Quran as muhaymin alayhi, right? Because the Quran is literally the checksum, the guardian of the message that we have. But we still have those books. That's why the Quran commands the people of the gospel to judge according to what God has sent down in it. In 547, because what God has sent in the Torah and the gospel are still with us. It's not lost. It's merely just like people put footnotes and brackets and parentheses in their translations of the Quran. That's what people have done to the Bible. The message is still there, but people put brackets, parentheses, footnotes, appendices with their own understanding. So they put something else in the book along with the words of God.
Which translation did you get that from, Khadija? That's interesting. Never seen that before.
This is the monotheistic, the Brother Laith's translation, but I just went on to here. Let me share. I just looked up chapter 2, 126, and it says Ibrahim in Arabic as well. I'm trying to screenshot, but it's not like letting me put anything in. So
They
I'm just gonna have
removed
to
the
share again.
yeah before the meme.
Yes,
Time.
the yeah is gone. It's still Ibrahim in Arabic.
Okay, so Late's 2017 edition has what you're saying, but if you look at his adjusted edition, so look, I have both editions right here.
I have the new app. I'm using his app. I don't have.
So he changed it back?
I have no idea. But the app I just sent you, or not the app, the Quran.com, the corpus.
All Ibrahims in Baqarah is spelled without the ya.
So he's
but
still
it's pronounced
Abraham.
Ibrahim. I don't
Ibrahim.
I wouldn't translate it that way, but you know, the dhikr still says Ibrahim, but the spelling is without the ya. So I don't know why that is, but yeah,
Which might
that's the
still be
fact,
that
though.
connection from the other books that Dr. Musa was talking about. I didn't know that, by the way, Dr. Musa. Thank you for sharing. You're muted.
That's okay. I've studied multiple religions. I remember one time I had a conversation with an Iranian in the early 1980s when I was first Muslim. There was an Iranian gentleman who had converted to Christianity so that the Christians would help him leave Iran. And he was trying to convince me that I shouldn't be Muslim. And he says, well, and I said, well, show me in the Bible where Jesus says he's God or the Son of God. And he had, of course, all the verses, right? And I said, but that's not Jesus saying it. It's somebody else saying it. I wanted to see where Jesus said it. And he came to the very last verse and I said, see, that's not Jesus either. He literally slammed the book closed and said, well, did Jesus have to say it? And I said, if you're
Yes,
telling me
he
it's
did.
a teaching
Yes,
of
he did.
Jesus, he had to say it.
Yes.
So, you know, people take their understanding for whatever reason, you know, and they use it. But when we look at the words, and I know that the people who advocate a numerical structure in the Quran say that that's why, you know, the yes are missing, but they are articulated when you articulate, when you recite the Quran, you recite it with the yeah, right?
I haven't been reciting it with the ya because there's no ya for me to. There's only a kasra, which is different. Ibrahim versus Ibrahim for me personally. So
but Khadija, I don't see what you're saying though. The ya is in chapter 2, verse 124.
Are you?
I just posted in the chat.
What about
Exactly.
chapter 2, 126? Can you look
Okay, 2,
that one up?
126.
Check Hafs and Asim, like check the Mus'haf. It's
I'm gonna go look. I don't know where my links are for the original manuscripts. Yeah, so it's the same thing in chapter 2,
You're
verse
still
1.
muted, Sister Aisha.
Yeah, it's the same in chapter 2, verse 126 as well. Ibrahim. The ya is there.
No, Zishan, in all Baqarah Ibrahims, there's no ya. I have it right here. There's no ya.
I'm looking at the Islam Awakened Arabic right now, and there's no ya into 124 in Ibrahim.
That's the first occurrence of Ibrahim, by the way.
Right.
There's no ya there. Yeah.
But there is a medda over the kasra, and the medda over the kasra indicates an elongation.
So it's Abram or Ibrahim.
It's Ibrahim.
Maybe it's a Muhammad Ahmed situation going on.
But there's a kasra, but the medda, the punctuation mark, the recitation mark, makes it long. That's why if you look at the Arabic and you see the long line going across between the ha and the meme above it, that's called a medda. And that medda elongates the sound of the kasra and makes it from an I to an E.
That am I muted?
Nope.
No, okay. So that this one, the greater than, less than, that's a madda?
Which eye are you talking about?
I'm still looking at 126.
Okay, I was at 120. Let me go to 126.
Yeah, the greater than, less than thing. Yes, that's
a madda.
It looks like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
While you're looking that up, I'd like to underline something Sister Aisha said. I'm reading some material by an author named Robert Anton Wilson. He's a sci-fi writer and he's written a lot of psychological books. And in one of his books I'm recently reading, he basically says that our minds tend to be divided into two sides, a thinker and a prover. And the phrase he uses through an entire chapter of his book, he says, what the thinker thinks, the prover proves. If we have a belief, we'll start to look around for things that back that belief up.
Confirmation bias.
Confirmation bias on steroids. What the thinker thinks, the prover proves. Thank you.
I get it. I get it.
And some of these questions too may be very distracting.
Incredible questions, though.
Right, but again, the reality is lillah, and sometimes it's better to go with the simple
Yeah.
and just
I mean,
serve Allah. Serve
doesn't really
Allah
change
and do
anything.
your best. That's all any of us can do. As Brother Walid said, we have perspectives, and that thing with the shadow, it shows you there are different things that impact our perception. I was born in a particular time, in a particular place, and have particular experiences that give me a framework of perspective that's different than somebody 50 years younger than me, or, 25, 30 years older than me. What we have to be willing to do is understand that we have our perspective, and we could be wrong, we could be partially right, but the point is, and the Quran says, this is the Surah Al-Mulk, Ayah 2, death and life have been created as a test of who's best in action, right? So the understanding that we get, how are we acting on it, right? And Quran 5:48, I keep getting back to, if God had willed, he would have made you one community. But he tests you in what he's giving you. But we've given each of you a law and a way of doing things, right? And he tests you in what he's given you. So compete with one another bil khairat, right?
SubhanAllah. Yes.
Instead of competing about who's right on a particular topic, because God will explain that to us later, compete with one another in doing good things, right?
Yes,
I mean,
Dr.
the world is competing and doing horrible things right now,
Yep.
my children, you youngins that are going to be there
Yeah.
long after I am, competing in all kinds of horrible things. How can we take our understanding and compete in good things?
Khairat, that
Right
word.
where we are. We can't change the government, we can't do this, we can't do that. Instead of thinking all the things we can't do, what can we do? I mean, and this kind of meeting is one of the things we do to encourage each other, right? The meeting is lillah, but how does it become part of our service to Allah? I think, embracing my role as an elder, I want to encourage all of you youngsters who give me hope for the world, because at some point, all these elderly people are going to be gone, and you all are going to be carrying it forward, right? You and the little teeny ones with you, your little teeny ones that are half a century from now going to be younger than I am today, Khadija. And so we pass it on to you, you pass it on to them, inshallah.
Inshallah. There's too many connections.
God has sent down messengers.
Of course.
Messengers we've been told about, and messengers we haven't been told about. The Quran says that very distinctly. I met an Iroquois woman who recognized the Quran from the teachings of the Iroquois people that had been passed on for generations. The original teachings of the Creator to the people is what they called it. And I think that's a beautiful statement. And I think that exists. And God has sent that message continually. And the Quran is the ultimate manifestation of that for us, for
Keep hiding it
humanity.
behind other things.
Exactly. Keep shoveling stuff on top of it.
Yep.
Zishan, I don't know if you want to close this meeting now, but I do have
If we
two
have
more
some more
concepts.
notes left, yeah, please, of course.
We do,
I mean,
but is everyone okay for me to continue with two
I
more
don't
concepts?
see a problem with letting this go on to 5:30.
Well,
Okay, thank
I
you.
can't do that, but I'll exit if I have
I'm
to
literally
leave.
at the store right now, but there's no
Well,
customers, so that's good.
well, guys, I have an idea about the word Ibrahim. I know that you guys already started talking about something else, but I couldn't because I didn't know how to raise my hand. So in Arabic, we have different khutut scripts. One of them is the Uthmani, which very popular when they write the Quran. So that's why maybe they didn't have the ya in the word Ibrahim.
Mm.
Like we have الرقعة, النسخ, and other khudut. So could be why.
Excellent point.
Okay.
Thank you.
Brother
Um,
Farouk, what were you going to add?
yes, thank you very much. And thanks for that, Hanan. Inshallah, I'll discuss it with you later on. So now we come to, we've passed the concept of asnam, and now we are coming to the concept of awthan. Now, awthan is a concept I didn't know of when I made my first presentation about this back in 2018. But after that, when I found it, it was kind of mind blowing for me as well. So Awthan is mentioned only 3 times in the book, but it's mentioned in very particular ways, and I think that's very important. So the first time it's mentioned is in chapter 22, verse 30, um, in which Allah says, "Such." In brackets is the pilgrimage, which is in the context, chapter 22, verses 27 to 29 is the pilgrimage, the Hajj. Whoever honors the sacred rites of Allah, for him is good in the sight of his Lord. Lawful unto you are cattle except those who mention to you. That this is uh, resonating with chapter 5, verse 1. So it kind of tells you the state of the Muslim community at that time. And then it says, Fajtanibur rijsa, and so avoid the rijs min al awthan, from the awthan. So what do we get here? We get rijs. Rijs is an abomination, an uncleanliness from the awthan. So the awthan are the ones giving you this uncleanliness, right? What is this uncleanliness? This is the ayah I mentioned maybe 20 minutes ago, chapter 10, verse 100. Allah places uncleanliness on those who won't think. So this is what the awthan does. The awthan, they lull you into not thinking. And this is very dangerous. And Allah says, "Wajtanibu," so steer clear away from qawlu dhur. Is speech which is fleeting. It's not permanent. So they are giving you, I would say it's equivalent to chapter 6, verse 112 to 113. Words which are beautifying, but they distract you from the path. This is what the awthan does. And then chapter 29, verse 17, it says, "You worship idols besides Allah and you invent falsehood." So this is another thing which the awthan does, is to inspire you to create falsehoods, lies. And instead of actually checking things out, you are allowing them to continue with the lies. Um, then a few verses down, it says that the awthan are the ones which create attachment between you in the worldly life. So you can see that the awthan, the personalities in our lives which do these things, they are creating attachment for us. So we are not able to serve Allah when these things are coming. They are giving us lies and they are distracting us from the path. They are giving us fleeting words. I think we all come from a background in which we have escaped the awthan, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's awthan anyway. And then we come to the final word here, which is andadan. Andadan is the plural of the word nid, and it's used in chapter 2, verse 165, actually in chapter 2 twice. Um, and it says there, they love the andadan as they should love Allah. So these things, they become an object of your love. You are devoting your energy to them. But if you are intense in your love for Allah, this is what will inspire belief. That's what chapter 2, verse 165 tells us. In fact, the best verse to end this is chapter 2, verses 21 to 22. 21 says, Ya ayuhan nas, O people, a'budu rabbakum, serve your Lord, alladhi khalaqakum, who created you, walladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun, and those before you, that you may be preserved. Verse 22 says, الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ الْأَرْضَ فِرَاشًا. He created the earth as a couch, وَالسَّمَاءَ بِنَاءً, and the heavens as construction, وَأَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً, and he has descended from the heavens water, فَأَخْرَجَ بِهِ مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ, and come out, brings out from it fruits, رِزْقًا لَكُمْ, to sustain you with it. فَلَا تَجْعَلُوا لِلَّهِ أَنْدَادًا. So do not place besides Allah andadan. So Allah is telling you to focus on your existence and don't set up any objects of love besides Him. So I will end there. Thank you very much.
Farouk, I mean, our parents, okay? People who are, you know, like our teachers and our like Gandhi or Prince, like, you know, good people and whatnot. Are we not supposed to extend to them love?
Well, not that kind of love. I would say mawadda love.
Mawadda.
Mawadda. So there are two kinds of love. One is the habba love, which is used in ordinary Arabic. So it says ana uhibbuk, meaning I love you, right? But that's not how the Quran uses it. The Quran uses habba is explicitly for Allah, and in another place, I think chapter 9, verse 24, is for Allah, the Messenger, and the cause. So that's the love in the Quran. But Allah does give the mawaddah there. Mawaddah is attachment. Rahmah, nurturance is also part of it. But habba, no, I've never seen habba for people. Yeah.
Except when they are, you know, yuhibbu.
Well, it is used in the language of the people as like habibi, like a dear person. And we can't, and again, people's usage is real meaning, right? But muwadda is different than hub, because muwadda is a kind of affectionate attachment. You can say, I love pizza, right? But you don't have an affectionate friendship with pizza. You know what I mean? There's a difference between wadda and hub in kind of meaning and how they're applied, because mawadda is a very specific kind of loving friendship. It indicates companionship as well, right? So there is a deeper meaning to it. But when you were describing Awthan there, Farouk, I thought immediately of social media and AI and how it's used, how the negative ways in which it's used to create stories that get people
propaganda,
Brilliant.
clickbait, propaganda. These are all things that we need to be careful of, even though they have great things that they can do to help and be positive. They also have these very negative sides. And the question that then comes to mind is, what makes the difference between a tool that is used positively or negatively? It all comes down to what's in the heart of the people using it. And the Quran talks about people with a disease in their heart, right? And the Quran tells us how to avoid that, right? It warns us about those things. So the tool itself is not this evil thing, although I'm very skeptical of AI. But really, Awthan really fits a lot of what we see going on and how it's used. And I think that's, Farouk, one of the greatest values of this discussion is when we say the word idol, especially if we think of like statues, and people focus on, okay, those people in the past worshiped idols, we don't. And so they're able to they're able to put blinders on the way that things are idolized in our society. And maybe, and that's what we're trying to do, is take off those blinders and say, these things are problems for us as much as they were for previous generations. The previous generations just had a different form of awthan or asnam or andad. What are the things in our environment that have these qualities in our lives? I'll stop there.
Exactly right, Dr. Musa. We have to focus, go to the bare bones of it. We don't have the traditional Lat, Manan, Uzza statues in our lives, but we do have things which inspire that effect. At least I do. So I need to battle it on my personal level, and that's what makes the Quran universal.
Exactly. Alhamdulillah, subhanallah.
Subhanallah. All right, my brothers and sisters, I gotta get back, and this concludes our week 5. Inshallah, we move on to week 6. I think are we continuing with idols, Farouk, or we
Um, Actually, I still have. I was thinking of comparing now things which Allah does share, right? Like mulk, wilaya, uh, and I can't remember the other word now. But there are certain words in which Allah is at the head. So, say for example, wilaya, guardianship or allyship, alliance. Allah is our Maulana, but at the same time, Allah, Rasul, and the Mu'mineen, they are our awliya. You see, so it is a rather complex
I know,
system of concepts there. So I was thinking
very.
of getting into that, but I don't quite know what you guys want.
Yeah, no,
But
get into
I'll
it.
proceed based on
This is
that.
for
Yeah.
all of us, you guys. Y'all don't have to push me to the top and or the head of any of this, you know. If y'all want to change things up, it's up to y'all. Y'all want to go with the flow, go with whatever was written out, that's fine too. I think Hanan had something to say as well. Sister Hanan.
You're muted if you don't know
Hanan,
it.
Ukhti, are you still there?
Oh, no, I didn't have anything. I just sent. I wanted you guys, just to look at the chapter 3, verse
Mm-hmm.
14, because since we were talking about earlier about the hub and how it's mentioned, in Quran.
Yeah. No,
Also,
thank you for sharing that.
Brother Abdur hasn't spoken. Do you have anything to add for us? And you're muted if you don't know it.
And we do cover what Allah loves and what Allah doesn't love in another week. I don't remember the exact week we cover that, but we cover the yuhibbu, yuhibbu al-muhsinun, yuhibbu sabirun, right? So we cover all that as well in that week. Um,
Oh, that would be
awesome.
very interesting. That would be very interesting. I'd be very much into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yuhib, yeah. Let me just. Oh my God, I've never looked at that in the concordance.
It's a beautiful concordance, and it teaches you those traits, those attributes
I
that we should
know. My
embody
God.
so that we become, I don't like to say beloveds of Allah, but like, we want to, I think we all strive for that. We want to be in Allah's good graces and Allah's beloved. It's up to him to decide whether we become that, but I digress. Anyways, so all right, my brothers and sisters, this was awesome. Alhamdulillah, I shared the chat in the whatever we shared in the chat in the thing, and I also asked late the question about the difference in 2013. Well, Khadijah's not here, but 2013 versus 2017 versus now. And then Hanan also her question on chapter 12 verse 43 and chapter 12 verse 50 versus chapter 59 verse 20 something. Hold on. 59 verse, I'll go back up. Where is it? 59:23, yeah. So I posted that in the group chat, and then yeah, let's study. And Hanan, you ask, like, y'all all ask such amazing questions, and I learned so much from all this. And inshallah, I will see you guys again next week, and probably throughout the group chat.
All right, bro. Thank you very much for that.
All right, my
For
brothers and
this.
sisters.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. Love y'all. Khudafis. Bye.
Assalamu alaikum, man.